every year Shinola does, it's called the Great American Series. So they do a custom watch honoring a great American, someone who's contributed to American culture, society. It made so much sense to me that Dilla should be the next great American.
Peace, my name is Valid, and I'm an independent Detroit hip-hop artist of Balkan descent. And I've invited other Balkany to talk to me on my balcony. Yeah, what up, though? It's your man's Valid, real name Mihailo Peric, and I'm kicking it with a marketing creative genius. My man's Phil Pirkovic. What up, though, bro? You all right?
How are you? I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Tell me. Where are you from? Where's your family from?
My family from two different places. So my mom's side is from Bitola.
Okay.
So my grandma was born in Bitola. My grandpa was born in Booth. And then my dad's side is from Kuchevice, right outside of Skopje.
Macedonian.
Yep.
Let's go. My dog. You have a very interesting role. You've worked on some really cool projects with different brands. What would you say your job title is? What do you do for a living with these brands?
So I'm a brand marketer.
Okay.
So what that means is I help brands grow, right? And that's like acquiring customers, brand campaigns, driving revenue. So it's all under that realm of brand marketing. So it's a lot of creative work, a lot of traditional marketing work, but it's all under the guise of helping brands grow. And
what are some of the brands you've worked with?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty long, kind of crazy career. Most of it agency side, so marketing agencies in San Francisco, New York for about 10 years. And on that side, anything from like Uber, Postmates, Puma, ASOS, Venmo. And then brand side specifically, I was at Google for a while. And then most recently, I was at Shinola here in Detroit.
And we're going to get back to your Shinola thing here in a minute. That's very important and probably the reason you're here today on this show that connects all of this together. And we'll get to that in a minute. Was this something that you always knew you wanted to do, like when you were a kid? Or did you just stumble onto like some type of like internship and you're like, hey, I like this? Or did your life just like bring you here like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm good at?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of everything. So growing up, obviously, when you grow up kind of in that immigrant household, right? Your parents are always, talking about, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an engineer, right? Yep. So I didn't know marketing existed. So I didn't study it. I went to school and I got a degree in economics and a degree in business. So I never studied marketing, but it was something that I was always kind of drawn to. And I was, very, very lucky. I kind of grew up in that like early social media era. So I got really good at understanding the platform. So like MySpace days, building out communities on MySpace, early Facebook days. And then through that is how I discovered marketing agencies.
Gotcha.
And then the rest is kind of history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
What would you say was your first like moment where you're like, oh shit, I'm in this game? Like, was it a specific job, a specific internship, a specific company where you're like, this is real. This isn't just like me in my bedroom thinking about doing this. I'm really doing this now. What was that moment? Who was it with? And all that stuff.
So I think for me, it was the first agency job I got. So I was in San Francisco. I moved out to San Francisco in 2013, 14 after I graduated. And it was the first agency job I had was at an agency called EVB, Evolution Bureau. And they were a pretty decent mid-sized shop, about I think 40, 50 people across 2 offices. And I was in the San Francisco office, and the first client I worked on was Jameson whiskey. And it felt serendipitous because I was like 24 and, I was like still like drinking a lot of Jameson. And next thing you know, you're like working on the brand. And then you realize like, oh, the stuff that we're doing here reaches millions of people, right? It's like we're working on, social campaigns. You're working on TV spots. You're working on all these things. And this is a brand that's spending, tens of millions of dollars. And then that's when it really clicked. I was like, oh, the work we're doing here is like impacting and reaching this many people. And then that's when it started to become like, oh, okay, I got to really understand how this all works. And yeah, those are kind of the first moments for me that really like solidified like, oh, you're doing this for a big, big brand.
When you think about that, does that thought ever like mess with your head? Like, holy shit, the ideas we come up with, the color schemes we come up with, the slogans we come with, this isn't just like something that, a few thousand people are going to see.
Yeah,
like the world is going to see it. Does that like make you excited? Does that ever make you nervous? Like, does it ever make you say like, oh my God, what if this is a terrible idea and it's not going to work, or it's going to be like laughed at or shunned? Or does it like does it get you that like adrenaline where like, yo, what we're doing matters. Let's come up with something fun, something sweet. How do you respond to that?
No, so I think for sure it's the latter, right? I think it's like when you start doing marketing at that level, you learn pretty quickly that like no matter what, like you could have the perfect insight, the perfect campaign, and like sometimes things just don't hit, right? And it's like it's such an interesting industry because creativity is subjective, right? You know that.
Yep.
You could we spend weeks, months, half a year working on a campaign. It goes out into the world and it just flops. And there's like nothing you can do about it. But that doesn't stop you from, the process of the work, right? And it's like those things to me are like, that's the part of the game that I love the most. And it's like when you're doing it for those reasons, you're never worried, right? And I think like you got to kind of like disassociate yourself a little bit. It's like they always talk about, athletes like Kobe Bryant, missed 24,000 shots in his career or something like that. But he's also made 21,000. The next idea is always going to come. It's always going to get there. You're always going to figure it out. But you can't get too caught up in any one thing ever.
If I had that mindset, I would have stopped making music when I was 16, 17. To me, it's like create something, you put it out into the world. Let's see what happens.
Right,
it's going to go. And it's going to go where it needs to go.
Right.
It's going to resonate with whoever it needs to resonate with, and whoever it doesn't resonate with, on to the next. Exactly. And you just keep going.
Exactly.
Michael Jackson, Prince, the Beatles. These people have thousands of songs. Thousands.
And you remember what, 5, 10 of them?
So and that doesn't mean that those 5 or 10 are more valuable or anything. It's all a part of the catalog.
You don't get to those 10 until you go through.
Yeah, it's all a part of the story. Sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. You mentioned your family. You mentioned like, immigrant household, Balkan, Eastern European household. Yeah. How do you approach your parents and say, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I want to do? And did they look at you like, no, you're not going to do that? or did they not understand it? Was it something that was just like, I don't get it?
It was never no, right? I very fortunate to grow up in a very supportive household. Like my parents were, they always preached education.
Gotcha.
My dad always said, he's like, I work with my hands so you can work with your mind.
There you go.
Right? Like and what he means by that is like he didn't want me and my brothers to have to do what he did. He came to America. He worked at the factory, the General Motors factory in Flint during the day, and then at night was like washing dishes, right? So he's like, I don't want you guys to have to do this. So he always told us like work with your mind, right? Like AKA get a corporate job. Like so it was never no, but it took them a while to like understand.
They never told you no, but it took them a minute for them to accept it and know what.
Yeah, and honestly, to be honest with you, it wasn't until I started working at Google where it's like, oh, okay, you're doing okay. I didn't get to Google until I was about 8, 9, 10 years into the game. So I was agency side, in San Francisco and New York for about almost 9, 10 years. And then I went to go work brand side at Google. So I was like putting in the work. And then once I got to Google, like I didn't have, like they knew what that was. So like it started to connect a little bit, but it took a while for them to like understand like the work.
One of your first gigs was Jameson.
Yeah.
Whiskey's fine, but around here, we drink rakia. We drink Slivovicu, plum brandy, peach brandy, Živali. And shout out to the people that are helping bring in this series, my people out of Portland. House of Rakia, they're a premier importer of like some of the best quality rakia out the Balkans. So if you're a restaurant owner or you own a store, you're selling liquor, whatever it is, hit up House of Rakia and get you some of the highest quality rakia coming into the States. Živali. A couple years ago, I don't know, was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
The watch came out last year.
The watch came out a year ago.
We started working on it in 2023.
2023. The watch. Show them the watch. I know there's 2 versions.
This is the chronograph. Every year, Shinola does, it's called the Great American Series. So they do a custom watch honoring a great American, someone who's contributed to American culture, society. They've done, Muhammad Ali, the Wright brothers, Georgia O'Keeffe, Maya Angelou. And when I got there, when I started in Shinola in 2023, part of the mandate was how do we think about this series in a different way, right? Who else has contributed to American culture that we can honor through our product? So I started doing a ton of research about just like what they've done in the past and then what it means to change and to contribute to culture, right? It made so much sense to me that Dilla should be the next great American. But the problem is, at Shinola, we, our kind of production schedules are like 18 months. So whatever we were doing in 2023 wouldn't come out to 2025. So it takes about 18 to 24 months to like develop product, develop the campaign, do all the work around it. People think it's very easy to make a watch in America. It's not. It's a lot of work that goes into it. From the design side, the production side, the manufacturing side, all that stuff has to get streamlined, right? So it took me a good 6 months to sell it in internally. And that's me literally like, I remember the first meeting I pitched it, you know, someone in the meeting was like, who's J Dilla? Right? And I was like, all right, this is why we need to tell this story. And to me, it's not even the fact that he's from Detroit. I would have wanted to told the story regardless because he was such a craftsman. He changed music production and the way he sampled music. And the amount of craft that he put into making music is the same amount of craft that Shinola puts into making watches. So like to me, that was the story. Him being from Detroit was like icing on the cake. Like, oh, this is like another reason to do it, but it's not the reason I wanted to do it. So yeah, it took about a good 6 months to sell it internally, right? And that's a lot of times people don't like understand the work that goes into the work, especially from a marketing point of view. Like when you see a commercial, a campaign, anything with a celebrity or an influencer, like most of the time that stuff takes 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 months to do. There's so much buying that has to happen, legal that has to get approved, content that's got to get approved, scheduling that has to happen. And like so much work goes into this like one moment. A lot of the first 6 months were internal, getting people to buy into the story, doing my part to getting, kind of presenting the business case as well. It's like, hey, listen, like there's a over index of people who collect vinyl and buy watches. So like you're doing all this research, you're trying to just like, it's like almost like being a lawyer. You got to present your case, right? When you're doing it at that level at a company like Shinola, like we have to decide from a business point of view, do we spend money to make this watch or do we spend money to make watches that we know are going to sell? Right. So there's like always going to be that risk, right? And there's only a certain amount of production dollars we have every year based off like like past sales and what we project to sell for the year. So you always got to present like the cultural case, like why this will help the business, and then the business case, like, hey, how this will move units, right? So it's a fine line between both those things. And sometimes, I meet a lot of creatives who are really good at the creative side. And I always tell people, hey, if you want to level up in your career, you got to show how your craft, your creativity can drive business results too, right? And it took me a while to learn that. Grant, I've been very lucky to work at some really incredible agencies, especially in New York. I learned how to distinguish between like, here's a creative idea for the sake of creativity, but here's a creative idea that can actually like move business, right? It's a very like kind of like skill that you really kind of have to sharpen, right? And it's like how you come up with things and the way you present things is super important. But yeah, it took us about 2 years from start to finish to come up with a concept, reach out to the state, work the deal out to the state, get them involved in the design process. We worked with J Dilla's daughters on that part. And then production has to happen. And then we spent about 3, 4, 5 months on the rollout.
And then if I'm correct, I don't know if this is, correct me if I'm wrong, you said you guys had to take that risk.
Yeah.
Is a J Dilla Shinola watch going to sell? Right. And then it drops. And wasn't it the fastest selling Shinola? To this
day, it's the most successful sellout in Shinola history. We did 650 watches in a little under 2 hours, each watch at around $2,000. So $1.2 million in revenue in 2 hours.
I was so mad when I went to go buy mine and it was sold out.
Bro,
like 4 or 5 hours after it went on. I got the email and I was driving and I was like, all right, I'm going to order that later today. Yeah. No, you're not, Valid. Yeah. You're not going to order that later today because everybody else already did. Yeah. And that broke my heart because that meant a lot to me. I'm going to tell you why it meant a lot to me.
Yeah. I know you got a connection to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you were just in my house. Yeah. You see me paying homage to Dilla in a couple places at the crib. When I found out about the watch, it's a Dilla watch, Shinola watch. I'm a huge Dilla head. Dilla's mom, Miss Maureen Yancey, my girl, my Dukes, has helped me tremendously. Wow. And the whole Dilla family tree has. Shout out to Uncle Herm. Mm-hmm. He's helped me in the past with my music career. I got a song with Illa J. Oh, and then all of like his musical family tree too. Like Guilty Simpson, I consider him a friend. You know, he was just touring overseas, and he's hitting up. Man, see, he's performing at places in the Balkans that had me performing. So I'm connecting them with people over there. So like, I got songs with all these people, bro. Guilty, Fat Cat, Illa J, Elzai. So all right, Cool. Dilla watch, Shinola, I gotta get one. I remember like when they first announced it. And then I see an article.
Okay.
And I'm reading this article. I don't know if it was in the Free Press. I don't remember
Rolling
what.
Stone covered it. Complex covered it. Like every Pigeons and Planes. Like everywhere.
It was everywhere. And I'm reading this article and they say, driven by like the creative director, or I forgot what the title they put before it, but I just saw Phil Pirkovic. Yeah. I go, what? You're telling me one of my own, one of my Balkan people, you know what I'm saying? People from the former XU created a Dilla Shinola watch, or we're behind it. You know what I'm saying? Where was a driving force behind it. That made me want to watch more, bro. I was like, cause you know, I'm just saying right here, like my mom knows your family and stuff like that. You know, I know your cousins and stuff. So when I found out, I was like, someone with the last name Pirkovic did the Dilla watch at Shinola. I need that. Like I want to pass that on to my grandkids. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is a family heirloom now. You know what I mean? And so I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
Go in the warehouse, bro. Try to find some more laying around. There has to be, dude. Grab one from the case that's like at the Shinola like office that's supposed to like they're holding on to forever. That's super dope. Super proud of you. That's super fresh. I remember when I was talking with my people overseas and they were reading about it and they saw the name. Pirkovic. Like all the Dilla heads in Serbia, Macedonia, Croatia and shit like that. There's a lot of them. Dilla's huge in the Balkans.
Big and like that.
And I'm telling them, I'm like, yo, I know this guy's family. And because they're reading the articles and it was they had the same response I did when I saw an itch at the end of the last name. I was like, no way, dog.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because we didn't like I was thank you.
We're gonna drink to that.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers to JD, Dilla dog.
Part of creativity to me is like you have to be a little delusional and believe 100%. Things are going to work.
Yep.
And I was so bought in on it that I was like, there's no way this is going to fail. Right. And like for 2 years going into that office every single day and like telling people like, yo, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. And then I remember when we teased it with Big Sean and his people.
I remember that.
So incredible, so great to work with. And this is where you start to think strategically about like kind of the marketing part of it is like this story's much better told through someone who's actually been impacted by Dilla's legacy, right? And, you know, we could have done like a traditional kind of like brand campaign or whatever, but I really pushed for having Big Sean announce it because I know what that's going to mean, not only to Detroit, but to the hip hop community that respects Dilla. So we worked that out. And that video that Sean posted got like 1 million views in 24 hours. And then from there, that's when it started to just snowball. Like Complex is reaching out, GQ's reaching out, Rolling Stone reached out, Pigeons and Planes. And Dan Sharness was a big help in like connecting us to a ton of people in the kind of community. All these things started to fall into motion. And I was like, that's when I was like, oh, this is going to be much bigger than just like a regular wash drop. The proof is in the pudding, right? Like how quickly we had 5,000 people sign up for the wait list without ever seeing the watch. We didn't show we dropped the Big Sean video. We announced that it was happening. That drove to a landing page where you could sign up.
You're looking at, you're looking at one of those 5,000 people. Yeah. I don't know where the other 4,999 are, but one of them's right here on this balcony with you.
We had 5,000 people sign up to buy the watch without ever seeing the watch.
Yep.
And then we dropped the photos of the watch. And that was like insane.
It was like, so unique to me because it's just
the way we like the creative direction around that was one of my favorite things we've done.
It was very, in my opinion, Dilla-esque in the sense of it was out the box. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, you know, Shinola watches are sweet. Like your standard Shinola watch is a nice, awesome watch. But that Dilla watch, it was like the weird stepbrother of the Shinola family. Like it's like a part of the family. It's definitely there. No, Shinola's stamp is on it.
There's a lot of crap
but
that
there's
goes into
something it's unique. You know what I mean? It's like it was just so fresh to me and it was not what I was expecting.
I gotta shout out Greg Veras. He's our head of watch design. He's one of the first people internally that was like, I want to do this. And he's a hip hop head too from that era. The watch design team did such an incredible job with the watch.
No, it's
both
great.
of them. We really took our time with it. And like you can see the detail, everything about it is like, it's so unique.
Well, it's crazy, man. If it wasn't for Dilla, and I never met him, But like I was saying, his mom had a big impact on my career.
Yeah.
I would not have a following in the Balkans, in Eastern Europe, without her, because, and then there would be no Balkany, segment that I'm doing. I met Ma Dukes in 2010.
Okay.
I was around her a lot, and she was in my car, and she goes, I can tell like your family's from somewhere.
Yeah.
She goes, where are you from? I go, well, I'm from here, but my family is from former Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
We're Serbian. She goes, oh, I got a guy I work with in Serbia named Vlada Stojanovic, and he's doing all the official Dilla stuff
in Europe?
in Eastern Europe that I co-signed or not. Like he takes care of it for me. You have to meet him. I go, I didn't even know anyone in Serbia knew who J Dilla was.
Or was like making music
and that's,
or doing anything.
And that's how ignorant I was. Because I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I hook up with this guy, Vlada Stojanovic, and me and him became very, very good friends. Yeah. And then over the years, I would send him some of my music.
Yeah.
And then eventually snowballed into, oh man, the music is getting like really good. And all these like Balkan hip hop heads started like fucking with me heavy. And then I'm working with producers and DJs out there. And me and DJ Head, we've been out there twice.
We're
going again. Yep. We're going in September through October. Late September, early October. Valid and DJ Head. We're coming to you, Eastern Europe, 9 shows. But yeah, and none of that happens without Ma Dukes. Hence why you're the perfect guest for this show.
Yeah.
So we got these things in common. Balkan, J Dilla, Detroit, Dilla's family, Dilla's likeness, and we're on the Balkany.
I always talk to my brothers about this. Like, yo, we're one generation removed from the village. We still have family there that never came to America, that stayed there. And like, I have first cousins that are my age who've only ever lived in the village. So that always trips me up. So I always talk to my brothers about that. It's like, no matter what we're going through and like how hard we think it is like, remember who had it harder and who sacrificed for us. And whenever I think about that, I'm like, oh, there's no problems I can't tackle.
I end all my sets with that song, and I just tell the crowd, I go, if you remember anything from me tonight, try to remember this. On your worst days, you have more to be thankful about than you have to complain about. And we are blessed, bro.
I love it.
We are blessed, not getting religious or anything like that, but I thank the Most High every day because I wear this my parents, they could have moved, they met here in Detroit, on the east side of Detroit, back in 1978, 79 or some shit. When they moved from overseas, they could have moved to any city, bro. My personal belief, I don't think it's coincidence that they came here, the city that Dilla's from, Eminem's from, Big Sean is from, Royce the 5'9's from, Fat Cat's from, Elzai's from. I fall in love with this style of music and this culture because of that. And then Dilla's mom has a guy named Vlad Stojanovic back home in Serbia. And
you can't make it up.
Yeah, bro. I grew up with Eminem posters on my wall. The first beat I ever wrote to was Eminem beat on the Slim Shady LP, right? Yeah. The guy who worked on that beat is DJ Head, my guy who travels the world with me now. There's no way you can't tell me that
anywhere else.
There's something going on, dog.
How do you balance both identities? Are you working on it? Like what's been your relationship to your heritage and culture?
When I was growing up, there were 2 distinct, completely different things. I never would have thought in a million years that I would go back home to Eastern Europe and rap. Yeah. Because I was ignorant. I didn't even think, again, going back to when we were talking about J Dilla, I didn't even think people in that part of the world
knew what it was.
Would know who J Dilla was. I was that...
you're just young, you're naive.
Naive, that's the word I'm looking for. I was that naive. Yeah. Before, it was kind of something, I was never ashamed of it or anything like that by any means, but it was just something that I felt people who like hip hop
just didn't...
Yeah, bro, I'm performing in clubs, man. I'm the only one that has this skin tone. Right. They don't, who's thinking about Serbia, bro? Right. Who's thinking about Macedonia, former Yugoslavia? Yeah. At one time in life, me, the hip-hop artist, and me, my ethnic roots were 2 separate things. It's no longer 2 separate things. There's no longer
you are who you are now.
I am who I am. And, it's even like that in my personal life. You would think there's Mihailo, and then there's Valid. Yeah. No, bro, Valid raps about everything that Mihailo went through.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it earlier when I first got here. I've never been outspoken about where I'm from or who I am, but I'm not ashamed of it. It just never came up in the spaces that I came up in, right? Like when you think about these traditional creative spaces in the advertising world, it's like there's not that many people that come from where we come from in those spaces. So it was always a part of who I was and who I am. And I think what makes me so good at what I do is the fact that like I was exposed to both cultures, right? Like I had one foot in tradition in our, like in the Slavas and our heritage and, you know, the weddings, the church, like all that beautiful community. But then I also had another foot in American culture trying to assimilate. You know, I was like watching wrestling, watching sports, listening to like pop music. Me and my brothers we were like, oh, what are kids wearing? And then we would go tell our mom, like, oh, hey, like this is the brand, because they weren't spending time like trying to figure it out. So like we were always so attuned to like kind of like American culture and like assimilating in that way. But like I think, like you said, like the older I've gotten, the more prideful I am of where we come from, right? And I think like you realize, like I said earlier, like I'm one generation removed from being from the village.
Yep.
And now we're doing these like incredible projects.
Now you're working with Shinola and working with, you know, these brands.
Working at Google and doing all these things. It's like
doing things that the whole world sees, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and it's like, to me, I'm never gonna lose sight of that. And I think, like you said, it's like when you get to that point when you get older and comfortable enough, like you show up as that one person, and that one person's a part of. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, it's a little bit of that. Yeah, and that's what makes it beautiful. It's like
there's no mask here.
Yeah.
You're getting the whole package wherever I go.
Yeah. And like the older I get, I love putting my friends onto like Chevapi and Kaimak and like you know, it's like I take pride in that now. You said a magic word. What? Wrestling. Okay, yeah. Are you? Hold on, bro. I don't know if you know who you're on the balcony with right now. I saw in the case. So speaking of balcony, now this was completely impromptu. Now that you brought it up, current WWE Monday Night Raw superstar, my boy Ethan Page. Okay. Macedonian. Is he? I did 2 songs for him. No One way. Of them, the WWE mentioned, and the other one I did for him before he even got signed to WWE. Yeah. That's my boy. I was just with him in like a week ago. No way. 2 weeks ago. That's a very good friend of mine. What is this life, bro? I know, and you said it earlier, man. You got to be kind of delusional and crazy. You have to be able to look at the equation and be like, yep, there's not enough rope to climb this mountain, but we're going to climb the mountain somehow. Right. And some way, the universe gives you more rope. That's it. Thank you again for having me, man. It means a lot. Big Phil, thank you, bro. Thank you so much for joining me on my balcony. Yeah. And I finished mine. Oh, you finished yours. Živli again. Shout out to House of Rakia. Thank you for supporting. And everybody go follow this guy. He's doing cool things in the world. It's your man's Valid. All right? Peace.